A warm welcome to everyone that has joined us this morning. Today we're going to talk about networking, one of the most misunderstood things when it comes to making your job search strategy. So today we're just going to go to a very fun and light-hearted way of introducing networking to you. So let us start. Okay, so before we start, let's talk about us as the IBF Careers Connect. So basically, we are around to help you to help people to land their, I dare say, a dream job in the financial industry by doing several things such as giving career advice services to improve your job search skills, which is why we are running this, because networking is one of the ways to improve your job search skills. Sometimes we do share about what's going on in the market, on the labor market, and of course we will also sometimes arrange actual networking sessions so that you can connect with other finance professions. Actually, we will be thinking of doing that maybe further down the road. It's in the pipeline. We are planning that, so keep a lookout for it. And of course, we will also identify what are the programs or trainings that you could take up to help you in your job search. And of course, last but not least, as you come to us on a one-to-one basis, we will try to find out, what are the skills and what the competency that you may have, so that we can help you to put these either on your resume so that the hiring manager can get to see it. If not, during your interview, where you could showcase all these competence and skills that you may not realize that you have. Is there anything that I left out, Eileen? Okay, so this is taken from our webpage, and later on at the end, we will give you an email address for you to write in if you do want to see any one of us. In fact, today we have in the team, myself, Liner, Eileen, and also Charlene. So 3 of us are career advisor with the IBF Careers Connect. And what we do beside these 5 things that's listed, 5 circles, is we also conduct workshop like this so that we could help more people to get an understanding on how to better equip themselves in the job search. All right. So today, as we said, we're going to cover networking. Is one of the most, I would say, the most misunderstood. So what's in it for you today? We hope that at the end of this virtual networking session that we're going to have after this sharing is to know how to form an elevator pitch, right? So Eileen is going to take us through that later. And in order to have a conversation going, we also try to practice how do you ask questions during networking, so that you show that you're interested, show that you're listening, and things like that. All right. And then how most important is how to network, and hopefully by the end of this session, you will have formed a network of your own through those people that that's participating in this. Okay, so quickly, I was just going to go through very, very quickly what networking is all about and why is it important. And then Eileen's going to take us through a simple networking technique, which she will explain. I don't want to drop her thunder. And then, of course, the main part of why you guys are joining, so that we can practice this networking technique in our breakout room. And after that, we'll return back to this main room and we'll do a debriefing session on it. All right. So this will be basically the rundown on what's going to happen. So I'm going to show a short video now.
Hey. Hey, man. Hey. So I was just scoping out the vibe of the room, trying to figure out who to talk to. I noticed that you guys were standing with a little gap in between each participant of the conversation, so I thought you'd be more welcoming to a newcomer.
Of course, I'm Dave.
But I promise that I will be slow and make a meaningful connection with both of you, and I am not just looking for a new client or an investor.
Oh, you know what we were just saying?
So I have like a list of topics that I'm willing to talk about. One of them is the latest sporting event, or the stocks. The stocks that they go up, but then they come right up back down. You know. And now I'll respond with a piece of conversation that's unique to me, like a restaurant tip, or my opinion on a political event, but it won't be too edgy of an opinion. I understand that I've been talking a lot, but I promise I will take time to listen to you guys, to let you talk about things that are interesting to you, to ask you questions. I will lean in while you're talking, raise my eyebrows a little bit like this, and say things like, really? I see. So, what do you guys want to talk about?
I'm gonna get a drink.
Really? I see.
I need to go to the bathroom.
Really? You didn't get my card.
I mean, what are you doing? You could just talk like a person.
Really?
Yeah.
I see.
It seems like you read an article on networking.
Really?
Yeah, really.
I see.
Stop doing that.
Really?
Really.
I see.
I see too.
You're good.
Okay, so this is what an awkward networking situation would be, which I hope none of you will ever encounter. Some of the points that were brought up are valid, some of them, but of course in an exaggerated manner, which we will address. So what exactly is networking based on what you see, right? So networking is about just meeting people, right? So networking is about meeting people, be it who share a same interest, share a same industry, or share a same profession. It's just conversation, all right? It's just a way of exchanging ideas and information. And most importantly, it's about building a relationship. It's to support each other and to build a relationship. And for sure, it is not a sales call, okay? It is also not a job interview. So keep these two things in mind, because most of the time when we talk to people, professionals, when we organize networking activities, they get a little bit not happy when when people come and start thinking that it's a sales call or it's a job interview, because it is not. Okay, so networking, please remember, it's just a conversation between 2 people, 3 people in a group, right? Just to know each other, make friends, and hopefully build a new relationship, a friendship that could last a long time, right? I just want to throw this in just because sometimes, as we said, networking comes in all shapes and forms, and sometimes there's this thing we call an informational interview. So of course that will be a different topic that we will cover, but basically an informational interview is whereby you may be introduced to someone who is a subject matter expert in certain things, and then you go to have a conversation with them. So obviously the topic discussed, the question you're going to ask will be a little bit different in a casual networking session, whereby you just want to exchange idea and information, or just to build relationship, okay? So this is what networking is. And if you cannot, the last thing that you should remember is networking is about farming. It's not about hunting. So what we're trying to say is, don't expect to get immediately reward after a networking session. Doesn't rarely happens, all right? It is about farming, whereby, as a farmer, you need to cultivate the soil, you need to prepare the soil, you need to put the seed, you need to take care of the seedling. So it's a work, right? It's a work in progress, and it moves on and on as you reconnect with the person that you meet. And then one day, down the road, will bear its fruits, it will get its rewards. So a lot of people don't believe in networking because they think that it's like a hunt. Like it's like the hunter going to look for a meal. Immediately, you get the result after you make your kill, right? So it doesn't happen. It rarely happens. So remember that networking is a process, right? It takes time, right? It's, as some people say, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint, right? So don't expect, you know, oh, people say networking is important. I go networking, but nothing happens. It's not working for me, so forget it. Because if you look at the statistics, 85% of the jobs are filled through networking, right? According to HubSpot. 70% of the jobs are never published publicly. So if you don't network, you never know where are these jobs, all right? 70% of the professionals hired in 2016 based on LinkedIn has a connection to their company. So they came in because they know someone who probably knows someone in the company. So through networking. So 80% of the professionals consider networking vital to their career success. So networking is just not about getting a job, right? So if you think that networking is about getting a job, that's really, really underestimating the power of networking, because networking also helps you in other areas, which I will quickly talk about. And when it comes to job search techniques, because if all of you have followed us, you would know that, you know, that we call it the Fantastic Four. There are 4 ways for you to try to get a job, right? One is your resume, one is during the interview, and one is doing your research and preparation. But the one that most effective by far to get your job or get recognition or get some form of reward is actually using networking. It's the most effective way for you to get a job. So why is networking important? All right, it's important because it helps you in your social well-being. What is social well-being? Social well-being is everybody has a group of support. It could be your family, it could be your friends, and networking helps you to build this, because that's where you get your friends, through networking. So networking not only is important in the sense, as I said, that's why you shouldn't just think of networking as trying to get a job, because that is only one part of it. Networking is a way for you to find new things, because remember, there's always somebody who knows something that you don't. And it's through networking that you can increase your knowledge about what's going on things that's going on. So that's where you also can get your support, right? So sometimes you need help in certain things, you can turn to your network for help, right? To solve maybe a crisis in your company, or preferably not a crisis in your life, but it could also happen, right? And networking is a way that you could get ideas, as we said in the beginning. Networking is a chance to get idea. You may learn of new techniques, you may learn of new skills, you can get feedback on, maybe you have a solution in something and you can always use it to try to find out whether it's workable, as somebody tried it before, you know, to get good feedback, right? So that you could find a solution to whatever issues that's occurring to you right now. So networking helps in that area too. And as we said, remember we talk about the informational networking. Yeah, this is what we're talking about, because it helps you meet professionals at different levels, right? It helps you to know people from different walks of life. It helps you to get some advice about your career so that you could grow, right? So as I said, networking is not just about getting a job, right? There's so many things that could help you in your career path. Last but not least, networking really helps you to boost your confidence. And it really helps you when you actually go for an interview, because interview is much more of a formal kind of networking. But once you have the confidence of having a networking with in a less threatening environment, you'll find that it's a good exercise for you, you know, for actually people who are shy or introvert to build that confidence so that you will perform well if you do go for interview. So for people, start small, don't worry about it. So which is why we have today's session, because we can start small. From here, we hope that what we're going to share for later for about an hour or so during the activity will help you build this confidence that you will take networking to another level, all right? With that, I'm gonna pass my time to Eileen.
Hi, thank you so much, Lionel. Before I start my segment, right, do we have any quick questions from the audience? Okay, none. Okay, I'm going to leave it to the audience. Yeah, if anyone has a question, I invite you to raise your hand and then unmute yourself and we can ask. This is meant to be a interactive session. Okay. Right. Okay. So my segment, my job is to just introduce a very simple networking technique to you today and we will get to practice it later. So the technique is called elevator pitch. And I have been reminded thousands of times by my buddy Lionel that this is not a picture of an elevator. Okay. Let me explain. Okay. Lionel, do you want to move on to the next slide?
Sure, I thought you were to explain here.
Yeah, okay. I'll explain later. So I want to explain what is an elevator pitch. Most of you might be very familiar with what an elevator pitch is, but for those of you who are not, this is a very short intro on what the elevator pitch is. So the origin of the elevator pitch, right? Why it is called an elevator pitch is this. Imagine if you were going into a lift with the CEO of a company that you're wishing to sell something to. And you only have the amount of time taken from the ground floor to whichever floor that the CEO is going to alight at to share your sales pitch or whatever it is that you're trying to sell to this CEO. So this is the classical origin story of why we call it an elevator pitch. And the reason why we showed an escalator just now is we wanted to bring across the point is that, you know, whether it is an elevator, which you know, if you're going to be at the Westin Stamford, right, you have got like 71 floors to talk to the CEO about who you are and what you do and what you sell. But there are times when you only have the length of time taken up an escalator. So that's what we wanted to share. So whether you want to call it an elevator pitch or an escalator pitch, the point is that in your mind, in your consciousness, you must have this ready introduction about yourself that can be easily compressed or expanded as the occasion presents itself. Yeah, and when to use it. So your elevator pitch can be used anywhere. So like what Lionel said just now, right? Networking can happen anywhere and everywhere. So an elevator pitch, when well designed, will help you to be able to effectively introduce yourself to someone, whether you're on the train, whether you are, you know, shopping, or whether you're dining somewhere, and, you know, in any form or format. Yeah. So that's a very short introduction to elevator pitch. And then now I'm ready to share the activity that we're going to do.
Okay, so I just want to add on, for guys out there, the elevator pitch is very important to you if you're about to meet your future mother-in-law. So think of it that way, okay? So if you're gonna meet your future mother-in-law, you're gonna impress her while you're the man for the daughter. You should have a very good elevator pitch for that, all right?
All right. Yeah, sorry. Right, so for those of you who are already familiar with what an elevator pitch is, when you Google, you know, elevator pitch, you're going to find a lot of different formats. So for today's session, what we are doing is we're introducing this very simple basic format as a start for everyone to practice. Before I go into the details, I just wanted to say that in job search and in recruitment, a well-formed elevator pitch can also be the basis of your career summary in your CV. And a well-formed elevator pitch can also be your very first answer to the interview question, tell me about yourself.
Mhm.
So in our team, what happens that when we teach people how to do elevator pitch, right? It's used in networking, it is used in CV, and it is used in interviewing techniques as well. Okay. So this basic format that we have is very simple. It has got 3 main parts, and I'm going to give you 1 or 2 examples. And I will also ask Lionel to share 1 example from his own experience, and possibly my teammate Charlene. Okay, so who I am. Identify yourself by a vocation. So I am a compliance specialist. I am a trainer, for example. What I do. So in my case, if I say, hi, my name is Eileen and I am a trainer, and what I do, I specialize in soft skills training, right? And any other descriptors. Okay, and then the third area, the third part of the elevator pitch is what value I provide. So in the case of me, if I say that I am, hi, my name is Eileen and I am a soft skills trainer, I provide soft skills training to audiences, adult audiences in government, private sector, and small to medium enterprises. So that's example number 1. Or if I'm a salesperson, if I'm a relationship manager, I might say, hi, I'm a relationship manager and I operate in the areas of privileged banking and I serve individuals with net worth of blah, blah, blah. Okay, so in part 3, when we say who I serve, you can identify yourself either by the kind of customers you serve, or number 2, the problems you solve. So if you are a compliance specialist, you might say that I help my company ensure that everything is in order or something like that. Okay, and what savings I create. And by the way, this isn't by any means the shortest elevator pitch. I have heard it said that there's this guy called Guy Kawasaki. So I've heard it said that he's a technology evangelist or something. So he used to walk into a room to say, hi, I'm Guy Kawasaki and I invented the iPad.
That's
right.
good.
So all he did was he could have identified himself. I'm a technology evangelist. And all he did was to introduce part 2, what I do. I invented the iPad, and that says it all. So I have actually just finished introducing this technique. And I am going to ask Lionel to demonstrate 1 example, and I'm going to ask Charlene to demonstrate 1 example as well.
I should let Charlene go first because ladies first, and I've been speaking and I need to clear my throat. Charlene, take it away.
All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Charlene here, part of the Career Advisory team. Today, we actually have the rest of our team members here. Yeah, the hidden heroes there, silently supporting us. So, all right, I'm going to give it a shot. All right. So, hi, everyone. I'm Charlene. I'm a career advisor at IBF. I have been in this career advisory and people development space for about 12 years. I specialized in providing the manpower planning early on in my career. And most recently, recent years, I specialized in supporting PMEs, professional managers and executives, all right, with the career planning and also job search in the financial services sector. So basically, this is my quick elevator pitch.
To follow. Okay, I'll try.
Thank you, Lionel.
Hi, my name is Lionel. I'm a career coach with IBF. What I do is basically to help people to find their dream jobs in the finance industry. I love my job a lot because I get fulfillment when I manage to get people to find their placement. And when they tell me that they are enjoying themselves, it really makes me feel on cloud 9.
Thanks, Lionel.
As you can see, it's not that difficult. And maybe I may sound a little bit false because she put me on the spot. But all of us will have a way to present this, And this is one of the simple way to do it, right? For people that are new to this, who maybe are shy, may not know how to get their thoughts together, and this will really help, because remember, you only have about how long elevator pitch?
Easily elevator should be less than a minute, I think,
Yeah.
unless you're living on level 72.
Yeah, right. So it's the same thing when what Eileen said earlier on. If you go for an interview, the interviewer is not going to listen to your tell me about yourself or elevator pitch for like 5 minutes. They will not. So it's something that you should try, and we'll give you a chance to practice it later, so that I dare say some people say that this carries 49% of your performance in any situation, right? Because this is how they gauge whether they like you or not. This is the first impression that you're going to present, and first impressions, believe me, is very, very important when it comes to all occasion.
Yeah, I hope our 3 examples really shows that gives you that encouragement or that motivation to give it a shot, because 3 of us have different personality and we come from various different backgrounds. So the way we introduce ourselves as we try the elevated pitch ourselves, and we apply actually this approach in many informal ways as well. In fact, in our work, when we see candidates or when we engage with FIs, asking them to work with us, to look at our candidates and things like that. So we do such introductions as well, but we of course shape it differently depending on who we are engaging with. So like Lina say, if you're gonna use this approach, talking to your mother, a future mother-in-law, then there's a different thing. But if you're RN trying to pitch an interest of really, a very important client, then that value that you want to pitch will be shaped differently. Yeah.
Thank you, Charlene. Okay, before I help everyone to try to remember this technique, right, I'm going to share one more example. So my name is Eileen and I am a career coach. And what I do is that I help my candidates in 3 main areas. Okay, resume writing, job interviewing, and LinkedIn. And the kind of job seekers that I serve come primarily from the finance sector. So if you can see what I just did, right? First, I use three pointers to help myself remember the stuff that I'm supposed to remember, which is who I am, what I do, and what value I provide. And the second thing is I helped the listener by providing numbers as a signpost. So I said, I help my candidates in 3 main areas. So this is just a side technique that I wanted to introduce to everyone. So just for everyone's benefit, once again, remember the basic format: who I am, what I do, and the value I provide. Okay, ready to move on to the next slide.
Hey.
Okay, in this activity, I'm going to go through the activity slowly, and before we put you into your breakout rooms, we will have a short time for everyone to ask questions so that you're all clear about what to do once you're in the breakout room. So the objective of this activity is to help everyone to create a simple elevator pitch to introduce yourself. And instead of using your occupation as an elevator pitch, we wanted to make it lighthearted. So we are going to have a surprise topic in every breakout room. So you will not be introducing yourself as a career coach. You won't be introducing yourself as a fraud specialist, but you'll be introducing yourself as something else. Yeah. And the second technique that we wanted you to practice is really to practice asking questions. Right? Because in networking, you will find that asking questions is almost as important, if not more important, than actually telling people about yourself. Because I think everybody here agrees that everybody likes to talk about themselves. Yeah, okay, next. So what are we going to do in this activity? Right, so you will be assigned to one of the following groups: food, sports, and coffee. And then using the elevator pitch format, if you still remember the elevator pitch format, which is, remember my 3 signposts, yeah? So who I am, what I do, and the value I create, or, tell me about yourself. Simple introduction about yourself based on the topic. Hey, Lionel, do we have anything else on this slide? Yeah, okay. So what you're going to do once you go into the breakout room is that each person will get to share his or her pitch. And then after every person shares, we will have the rest of the people in that breakout room ask one open-ended question of this person after he or she has shared her pitch. So I hope that is clear. Do we have any questions from the audience? Okay, no questions, yeah. So just for everyone's benefit, once again, you're expected to do 2 things in the breakout activity. Number 1, to practice your own elevator pitch, and number 2, practice asking questions. Yeah. Okay. And do we want to share this example here? Oh, okay. Okay. I'll share this example, yeah. So assuming that you're in the coffee breakout room, right? So remember the 3 signposts, who I am. So, hi, my name is Eileen and I am a coffee addict, right? And what I do, I drink both Starbucks and Kopitiam coffee. And fun fact about myself, I love coffee so much that I drink 5 cups a day. So that's a fun fact, yeah. Okay, no more. If there are no more questions, I'm looking at the audience. There's no one's raising hands. I'm assuming that everyone knows very clearly what you're supposed to do. I am going to get our teammate to break everyone out into groups now.
Okay, so everybody, thanks for your active participation. In my group, I think our group members were very supportive, and everybody gives a lot of presence to everybody. So I think it was very great exchange, and we all have that opportunity to listen, right? And to give presence and ask questions, because it's only through listening that we ask good questions, and through listening, it guides us in providing that actually guideposts for ourselves to ask the next question. Yeah, and we get inspiration from the rest of our team members as well on what's the next question to ask. Because I believe in a lot of interview situation, a lot of time we grapple with, oh, what question should I ask, right? Yeah. So I think in our group, we discovered that I think that this elevated pitch can be applied in different situations, right? Even for a theme like food, there's so many different areas that we can talk about food. And I also shared an example where, what if at the end of the interviews, in the interview I ask you, so can you tell me about something else about yourself? So then we can talk about the food, right? Yeah, so we can apply that. And how we talk about the food actually is an extension of our professional personality that we want to emphasize, we want to, emphasize, we want to impress the interviewer that we have that personality to fit your organization, to feed your team, right? So really it's about that genuine interest, and I'm very thankful. I learned in my group, all right, interesting places to go for fried carrot cake, the black one, all right, and also about interesting use of jackfruit as a super awesome vegan ingredient. I can tell you guys should go and explore what are the many dishes you can do with it. And in my group, we know that if you are into trying out burgers, try not to try potato burgers. That's what my group discovered. Dim Sum brings that wholeness, that wholesomeness back to our hearts. And I really like one of my team member, the way that she shared it. If I were to interview her, I can feel she's just such a wholesome personality that I would like to have in my team. And finally, I think we have one who shared with us a passion for rice. So that was great because it tells us that we can still have what we love if we keep to the pyramid. All right, so that's all I have. Anybody else want to chip in?
Okay, thank you, Charlene. I really appreciate my group. It was small, but very lively, very good discussion. And I think that what they could take away, and I personally could take away, was, I managed to be able to remember a particular story or fun fact that is attached to each individual. And that will automatically somehow goes into my long-term memory, so that, by tomorrow or maybe next week, I will definitely still remember the people that were in my group, because I can attach this piece of memory to that person. And that's what networking is all about. You want to leave something. And so the elevator pitch, or when you're asking questions, this is your chance to leave a nugget or snippet of information that is automatically goes to the person's long-term memory, and they will remember who you are. And that's the key, right? Because that's how this, when we said it's a long-term thing, and somewhere down the road, they'll remember, right? Because you have already made an impression, right? So the key thing is, after this, technically speaking, you should look for each other on LinkedIn to do a follow-up, so that you don't waste this opportunity in this networking session. All right, take it away, Eileen.
Okay, thank you, Lionel. I'm going to make this very short. So in my group, right, I switched things up a few times. So first, we have everyone ask say their pitch, and then we have got everyone ask questions. And then in the middle, I kind of just switched it up to just having someone say his pitch, and then the rest of them will ask questions, and we would not answer, but let the person who is giving the pitch try to remember as many questions as he can. So in the midst of this, what I would like everyone to take away is that if you all have already, I'm sure everyone has noticed, right? Sometimes if you have too many people in a networking situation, you don't remember things about the other people that you would like to remember. So for us, when we ask you to learn to ask questions, so number one, asking questions is your way to remember one fun fact that you want to remember about the other person. Number two, using signposting, which means the person who is doing the sharing needs to remember, if I want my audience to remember me, I need to give my information in, up to 3 very different pockets of information. So for example, hi, I'm a non-coffee drinker, right? I don't drink coffee for health reasons, or I'm a health freak or something like that, right? So by signposting, we're talking about putting out your information in groups of up to 3. And then for signposting for the listener, is also for us to remember, okay, if I can't remember like 8 different people, let's try to remember 1 item from each person, or 3 items from each person if I can. And by that, this applies in situations where you are going into an interview, there's a panel interviewing you, and 5 of them ask you questions, and you can't remember all of them, but you need to use signposting in your mind to remember what they ask so that you can answer. Yeah, so that's about what we picked up in our group. We're going to leave the floor open for questions. And then if we remember anything else, we will share. So yeah, feel free to ask questions. If you were frustrated by having to listen to other people, you can also let us know.
Well, while you are preparing to ask us questions, can we trouble Serene? Can you put up the poll? Look, these guys, we're going to put up this poll so that it will help us in our future session, because what you're going to help us, because as we said, this is our first time doing this type of format, and if it's been useful and helpful, please let us know so that we can design it better, so that as we said, it would have been great if I could meet all of you face to face and to do this but unfortunately circumstances made us not able to do it. But for sure, do help us with this simple poll. Will not take too much of your time. Just to add on to what Eileen says, what she's talking about is actually what we usually call the rule of 3, or the power of 3, right? Because what we are doing is, research shows that the brain likes to assimilate numbers, and their favorite number is 3, right? Because that's how they can pick similar patterns. That's what the brain does. The brain picks patterns, and the smallest number that they can form a pattern is the number 3. So you will notice that many of the time, you will find that people always say, tell me 3 things, remember 3 things, because remember all your childhood memories, right? 3 little pigs, right? It's always in 3, right? Except for the 7 dwarfs, but you will realize it's 3 blind mice, you know? Because the number 3 is very easy for people to remember. And so what Eileen is sharing is one way really to help you or help someone to remember who you are by providing 3 things. Talk about 3 things about yourself, is what she said. And we can take it down even to the resume level. People say, oh, what are the 3? How many achievements must I say? How many skills? Try to keep it in multiples of 3. But that's how you can help the hiring manager remember things about you. All right?
And also, I think the other thing we learned in my group, at least, right, was that when you can ask questions that make the other person think, it will help the other person to remember you.
Yes, because we did mention it. We digress a little bit in our group. Yeah, that's the time. Remember when if you go for interview, the last part of your interview whereby they say, oh, do you have any question to ask me? That's where you could put your practice about asking questions into place. Because mind you, you're still having an interview. Please don't think that the interview is over. Just because the interviewer asks you, you have any question for me? It's not a signal to say the interview is over. The interview is only over when you shake, well, you can't shake hand, but when you know you go offline, let's say. So remember, you're still being interviewed. The question that you're gonna ask also speaks volume about yourself. Anything? Is there any question I can't see from, because I'm only
I
seeing
think
a
there's
screen.
no question, but you know what? I'm actually asking the audience, right, to give us some frank feedback if you feel that the session isn't very useful, or because this is a pilot. I mean, previously most of our sessions are actually like webinars where audience doesn't get to participate. So we are trying this out because it is networking is a skill that people need to learn. It's not a webinar where we just share information. So we are really asking for frank feedback for us, how we can improve this session. Can you all just offer us some feedback through the chat function by sending it not to everyone, but there's an option for you to just send it to the panelists. Is there an option to send to the panelists? If not, you can send it to the events, IBF events. Send your feedback to IBF events host. We really want some feedback to help us improve this particular type of workshops.
Eileen, maybe I can give a quick feedback. I think it's very good because you arrange the so-called session, right, to link up with the topic you're talking about. Like what you say, I agree with you. Networking needs practical. So I really appreciate the small breakout room whereby we discuss, because only through that facilitation, right, then we know what we know and what we don't know, and we also can learn from each other. So I think overall, I think how you arrange it, I think is very well done. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Eileen, I think the chat is disabled, so we are unable to type in any questions.
Oh, is it? Oh dear.
Oh, maybe that's why there's no question throughout the entire.
That's right. Oh dear.
Oh, we.
Is it disabled because we are the co-host, so we cannot
Yeah, it's disabled. Yeah.
Hey,
Okay,
sorry,
it's
help
back.
to enable. Oh gosh. Thank you for letting me know.
No problem.
Okay, this is the email that you could send to either not to give us feedback. This is the email whereby if you feel that you need a one-to-one session with any of us, write to this email, and then our colleague will get back to you, and they'll set an appointment so they can see either myself, Eileen, or Charlene. All right.
Everybody, I think, you know, in our little groups, we have kind of like a bit of camaraderie there. And if you know, I would encourage you that to also connect with those that you feel that you can connect with. Look for them on LinkedIn. You know, if they're open to be connected, that's the way that you practice connecting with people and try to build your network, because that's how you never know. Like in earlier Linus sharing, right? It's a journey. It's not it's not like something needs to happen, then you start building a network. Then you start preparing for elevator pitch. So we have all these elements in place. We have the practice of connecting with like-minded friends that we meet at workshops, we meet at business platforms. That's how you do it. Because I remember some of my candidates will tell me that, oh, you know, but in my course of my work, I'm in operations. I don't have the opportunity to network. I don't have opportunity to attend those, you know, like a conference to represent my company. Then what about platforms like this? You know, that's where IBM over here, we are more cozy group here. We're not like big like the other players run by, you know, WSG or E2I. So ours is very focused on the financial services community. So I think this is a good place that you can start building and get to know friends. And also some of you may be taking certain courses. I think like there is SDS funding and all that. You know, so those are courses, those are opportunity also for you to build connections. And build connections also with the trainer who is teaching you, you know, for that particular course through LinkedIn. You know, that's how you practice your elevator pitch also, right? Yeah, because how do you make sure that your trainer for that particular course remember you is through the question that you ask. Then how do you practice questions? So that's, you know, the technique that we have shared today is very simple. Maybe some of you who are very seasoned marketer would know, but I think a lot of time, some of these skills really go back to basics, right? And that's where we keep going, you know, on this journey, building our network, practicing our elevator pitch. Then who knows, one day you'll be able to pitch to a job. You know, I remember somebody was telling me they got a job, you know, while they were at a bar having a drink and then just chatting with the guy next to him, and then whoop-la, then there was a job opportunity down the road 3 months later. Yeah, so you never know. Maybe a burger joint.
And okay, I know that just now Lionel said that you do not need to send feedback to IBM Careers Connect, right? But we're going to make an exception this time because this is a new way that we're piloting. So we are going to just invite everyone, you know, please just give us the feedback, because we cannot improve unless we get some feedback. And then you can also feel free to send LinkedIn requests to all the facilitators. Wow, so after we enabled the chat, there are still no questions.
Okay.
I think people are shy and then very you know, need time to think about it. You know, I like one of my group members just now, you know, I like his background, what reflect, and then, you know, then make a decision about what was your takeaway. Maybe they need to think about it.
That's fine. If you don't have any question, that's fine. Thank you for those people that participated in the poll. I just want to leave something. I think that's me. You know who are the best networkers? Your kids. You just bring them to the playground and they can make a new best friend. I think it's something that networking is something that's natural, something that we have, but somehow in our growing up, we lost it, right? We built too many walls, perhaps. We had too many disappointment, perhaps. So like to encourage every one of us to become like childlike, not childish, be more childlike, and see look at how your kids make friends in the playground so fast. New best friend, you know. So it's the same thing with networking, right? So that's what I want to leave with. Eileen?
Yeah. Wait. Oh, Okay, I don't have anything, but yeah. So I mean, I'm hoping that you guys don't find us too long-winded. I hope that, you know, however little, however much everybody has taken away from this session. Yes, and then and please, if you want to send what you think is negative feedback to IBM Careers Connect, it's okay. We don't really, you know, we are not going to mark you or anything, but you know, because we really need some feedback to improve our session. So hoping that everyone will connect with us on LinkedIn. And if you haven't already connected with a career advisor, please write in. We are all happy to assist you in your job search journey.